Well, that's me, and you might be wondering, why in the heck is this guy running 2 leaf blowers at the same time? What a knucklehead. Well, it all started about 3 years ago when I bought my first Ego electric power tool. To help myself with some yard work, I bought this 16-inch Line IQ weed trimmer, which was perfect because it has 0 or low maintenance, but I was not aware of the journey that I was about to have with these Ego batteries. You see, these Ego tools are actually pretty dang amazing. What you do is you put this battery on and basically the things just work. But you may not realize exactly what you're getting into when you start using these Ego power tools. And I say that because if you actually use these tools more than for just a few minutes, you're gonna get pulled into this massive battery trap. And that is exactly how I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Ego power tool batteries. The fact is, for most of the work that I do, one of those batteries only lasts 10, maybe 15 minutes on one of those leaf blowers. And this is certainly not a knock on the Ego brand, because as you can see, I obviously have bought into that ecosystem. But the way it all started was I bought that weed eater. I started to use it, which the weed eater, you don't run that nonstop. So my 4 amp hour battery or 5, whichever came with that, was sufficient for me to get the trimming that I needed done around my property. So later in the fall, I ended up buying that first leaf blower, and that was this 765 CFM. This was at the time their most powerful leaf blower, and I immediately went to work doing exactly what I set out to do, which was moving massive amounts of leaves around my property. The problem is, between the 4 amp hour and the 5 amp hour batteries, which came with the trimmer and the leaf blower, I really only had max about 30 minutes of runtime. And if you've ever tried to do any serious yard work, 30 minutes is not enough. But the other problem is, then I had this slow charger, and the slow charger would take 45, I'm not even sure, 45 minutes, an hour to recharge one of those batteries. And this is where you really need to start bracing yourself if you do buy any Ego power tools. I went down the rabbit hole of maybe I should just buy a few more batteries. That'll help me out. Then I can rotate more often, charge them more often, but it almost just seemed like it was never enough. That was until I came across this leaf blower, which put me in kind of a dilemma. Do I buy another leaf blower that comes with 2 4 amp hour batteries? And for that price, it's actually less than the cost of the 2 batteries by themselves. Or do I buy 2 larger batteries? And if you don't know already, there's probably about 10 different sizes of Ego batteries. The bigger ones, they're about the same size, but they weigh a lot more. And the smaller ones, well, they just don't have the power that you need to get you through the job. So I ended up with 2 almost matching leaf blowers. This one actually is just a slightly bit lighter, and it's also about 20% more powerful. And in fact, I think this is the most powerful handheld non-commercial leaf blower you can get on the market. So I've actually been kind of happy with it, but what I found myself doing is using both of the leaf blowers at the same time to get essentially double the velocity. I'm moving a massive amount of leaves, and that is how I found myself buying not just 1, but 2 of these 550 watt fast chargers. And these are not even the fastest fast chargers available. I bought these off of eBay for about 60 bucks each, versus a brand new 700 watt charger for about $250, I believe is the current price. So then I found myself another 150 bucks in just with 2 superchargers so that I could increase the charging speed, keep my 2 leaf blowers going as long as possible without having to stop, because I really hate stopping mid-job. Starting back up, that's the most difficult friction to overcome. And then I came across this pressure washer. And this could be the answer to all of my problems, because this came with 2 6 amp hour batteries. That is how I ended up with 6 Ego batteries. And that is the Ego battery trap that I want to let you know exists. If you're out there, you have a certain size yard, it is something that you want to be aware of if you plan to start using these tools. While I was in Lowe's looking at this leaf blower, I did meet another fella there. He was looking at leaf blowers as well. And we started talking and I was like, hey, you should go with this bigger leaf blower because it comes with these 2 batteries. And he said, well, my yard's pretty small. He already has a trimmer that had a 2.5 amp hour battery, and he just wanted one of the smaller ones. I believe it was a 660 or a 530. That one also came with a 2.5 amp hour battery. And for him, that was probably plenty. Small lot, somewhere in the suburbs. You just got to trim a few things and blow a few leaves, and those 2.5 amp hour batteries would definitely be sufficient. But if you're in an environment where you're going to be doing several hours of work with these power tools, you really want to consider the full repercussions of your decisions of going with the Ego tools. I'm glad I have them because I am not dealing with fuel, gasoline, oil. I'm really just dealing with the batteries. Long-term payoff, I'm not sure. My oldest battery right now is 3 years old, and managing and dealing with these batteries while I'm doing yard work has almost become another hobby, overcoming Ego battery power anxiety. And the way I've overcome that is I now have 4 chargers, I have those 6 batteries, and essentially I'll start my day with all of my batteries topped off. I will go with the smallest batteries first, and I'll throw those on the superchargers. And by the time I get to the end of the cycle of those first batteries, the second set of batteries is ready to go into action. I don't even want to try to guess how much money I've got invested into this Ego battery system. I am definitely positive that these batteries have cost me much more than it would just cost to buy a fresh 5-gallon jug of gas every year and then burn it in my burn pit at the end of the season and just start over fresh with new gas, new oil, all of that stuff every season. I really don't know that total cost. And you may hear me say throughout this video 6 or 7 batteries. That's because I recently picked up this used battery that has this, what they call the red ring of death. That led me down a rabbit hole of how to get this battery working. The first thing that people recommend that you do is you double tap within quick succession, triple tap, the button. You hold it for maybe about 15 seconds. The pattern on the light will start to flash red and green, and that is what they call a hard reset of this battery. Unfortunately for me, that did not work. Then the next thing that you are supposed to do, well, probably not supposed to. In fact, I don't recommend it, but it works, at least for me, a little bit. You jump start from positive to positive, negative to negative with another 56 volt battery. That will give this the perception inside that it has 56 volts. In fact, for me, that worked for about 15 minutes on this battery. It was able to get a little bit of a charge and it was able to work. But the next step is I am disassembling it, and I'm gonna probably go down another rabbit hole where I start to disassemble and collect a few of these potentially used batteries to piece together. Really, that's not something I recommend that you get involved with, but it is something that I'm interested in. I am interested in electronics, and I'd like to see if I can get either this battery working or get another battery, and between the two, get one of them fully functional again. Well guys, I really just wanted to share this quick kind of public service announcement about these Ego batteries. I've had an overall pretty good experience, but it was a rabbit hole I had to go down with collecting more batteries, having the right amount of power to get the job done all the time, every time. This is where I'm at now. If you found this video helpful, please give me a like, and I'll see you in my next adventure.